Welcome to the amazing world. Today we are going to study about the period, the reign of terror, the fall of the National Convention, the Directory, the means the end of the French Revolution, and the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte. As the National Convention was ruling France in March 1793, it created the Committee of Public Safety. By July 1793, Robespierre, the leader of the Jacobins, now became the leader of the Committee of Public Safety. In August 1793, he was appointed as the president of the National Convention. He practiced authoritarian kind of rule under the disguise of the Republic, and this resulted in the reign of terror between 1793 to 1794. Though a radical Democrat believed in equality before law and direct democracy, he, as a leader, brought in lot of changes that introduced many policies which focused on equality during this period of reign of terror. Maximum ceiling on wages and prices of grains, rationed meat and bread. Peasants were forced to sell their produce at fixed prices, banned the use of expensive flour. He said that instead of using expensive flour, he asked everybody to use equality flour, which was the whole wheat bread that all had to use. Equality through forms of speech and address. Instead of saying sir, madam, everybody had to use a common word, citizen. He shut down churches and converted them into offices. These were some of the good things that he did during the reign of terror. But because of the wrong policies, the policy of severe control and punishment, the setting up of a revolutionary tribunal, and use the method of guillotine to punish all those who revolted against him were the drawbacks of Robespierre's term in the National Convention. As a result, a time came when the clergy, the nobility, the peasants, as well as his own supporters, went against him. They charged him for being a dictator and voted against him. As a result, he was convicted by court, and on 27th July 1794 he was guillotined. Not only that, as a result, the National Convention fell and was later dissolved, and a new government was formed. This brought the end to the National Convention but gave powers to the wealthy middle class in France, who formed the Directory. They also introduced constitutional changes that gave voting rights to only those with property in society. This was for the third time that voting rights were changed. They formed the Directory, which on 2nd November 1795 and lasted till 10th November 1799. That is only for a period of 4 years. This was because the Directory, which was the executive body, often clashed with the legislature, which had two councils. To understand better the functioning of the Directory, Let us understand how this directory worked. Right from the beginning, the directory was the executive body of the government with only 5 members. The legislature was a bicameral legislature, where today we talk about the upper house and the lower house of parliament. The first council consisted of 500 members who proposed legislations, while the second council consisted of 250 members who accepted or vetoed the legislation. But this, the directory being having the executive powers, often clashed with the councils, and as a result the directory had become more and more reliant on the army in foreign and domestic affairs as well as finance. This resulted in the downfall of the Directory and gave rise to Napoleon, who took advantage of this and carried out a coup on 9th November 1799. He did away with the Directory and replaced it by a council or a consulate. So came the rise of Napoleon and an end to the French Revolution. But the French revolutionary ideals of freedom, equality, and fraternity did inspire political movements throughout the world. Napoleon Bonaparte, as a leader, now followed military dictatorship in France. It was a period when military dictatorship started in France. He fought battles and tried to expand his empire from the western and central parts of Europe. In 1802, he made a constitutional amendment and called the Napoleon First Council for life. In 1804, he crowned himself as Emperor of France. But one of the most significant accomplishments of Napoleon was the Napoleonic Code, which laid the foundation of French civil law today. With this, Napoleon's rule came to an end in 1815 when he lost the Battle of Waterloo against the British. It was called the 100 Days Battle. Thank you and see you in the next video.